loan yesterday. It's the first time since March of 2022 that the central bank decided against a rate hike. Raising rates has been the agency's main tool to fight rising prices. The increases take time to trickle through the economy, but the Fed wants to wait to see whether they're working. But it also expects hikes later this year. Well, the Southern Baptist Convention voted to ban female pastors. The rule approved at the Southern Baptist Convention's annual meeting this week prevents women from becoming pastors at any level. It needs to be voted on again next year to be final. The Southern Baptist Convention, which is the country's biggest Protestant denomination, also voted to affirm the expulsions of two churches that ordain women as pastors. Daniel Penny, a white man accused of killing Jordan Neely, an African-American street performer, on a New York City subway last month by placing him in a chokehold, has been indicted by a grand jury, allowing the trial to move forward. Penny was arraigned last month on a second-degree manslaughter charge in the death of 30-year-old Mr. Neely. He was captured on video putting Mr. Neely in a chokehold in a subway car after Mr. Neely was seen acting in a hostile manner. However, Mr. Neely never attacked anyone on that subway car. If convicted, Daniel Penny faces up to 15 years in prison. The Republican-led House voted to table a measure today that would censure Representative Adam B. Schiff for pressing allegations that former President Donald Trump's 2016 campaign colluded with Russia. 20 Republicans voted with Democrats to table the measure, effectively killing it in a vote of 225 to 196. 2 Republicans and 5 Democrats voted present. Fort Polk, an Army installation in Louisiana that for decades bore the name of a Confederate general, was redesignated Fort Johnson on Tuesday in honor of Sergeant William Henry Johnson, a Black soldier whose battlefield's heroics during World War I earned him the nation's top military award for valor nearly a century later. Fort Johnson is among 9 Army posts that have been selected to be renamed as the Department of Defense attempts to make its ranks more inclusive for marginalized groups like women and racial minorities, while also reckoning with long-standing racial inequities. Well, 9 women have filed a sexual assault lawsuit against Bill Cosby. This happened in Nevada yesterday, just weeks after the state passed a law eliminating the statute of limitations for civil cases. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court for Nevada accuses Cosby of using his enormous power, fame, and prestige to isolate and sexually assault each of the 9 women named in the lawsuit. Cosby also faces a civil lawsuit in California filed this month by former Playboy model Victoria Valentino. Ms. Valentino has accused Cosby of drugging her and raping her in 1969. Bill Cosby, through a spokesperson, denies all of the allegations. You are listening to Areva Martin in real time, and I'm your host, Areva Martin. This is your one-stop destination for today's trending news, expert analysis, and my unfiltered opinions. In this hour, I'm joined by 2 brilliant contributors, Kennedy Sessions. She is a Houston area metro reporter for Chron, and Isaac Wilson. He is a Democratic strategist and chair of the Democratic Party of Florence County in South Carolina. And in hour 2, I go behind the headlines and dig deeper into those stories that everyone is talking about. And today, that story is reparations. If you live in California, Detroit, St. Louis, Palm Springs, Evanston, San Francisco, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or even Sacramento, California, then you know that the issue of reparations has become a regular part of today's news cycle. So today I'm going to ask, why is this topic gaining so much traction in the mainstream media? And are descendants of African Americans who were enslaved by white folks in this country centuries ago, are these descendants really going to receive a check? Yes, asking if compensation is going to be paid to descendants of slaves, and if so, how much? We've seen San Francisco's issued a reparations report talking about $5 million being paid to Blacks in San Francisco. California's reparations report is due out at the end of the month. Some say that task force could be recommending $1 million plus be paid to descendants of slaves in California. I have two of the country's leading experts on reparations joining me in hour two. This is one conversation you don't want to miss. But before I bring on my guests, here's what I'm thinking about in real time. Today, I'm paying tribute to Tori Bowie, an Olympic sprinter. Tori was 32 years old when she died. She was once the fastest woman in the world. Unfortunately, though, she was found dead May 2nd in her Winter Garden, Florida home after Orange County sheriffs in that community went to conduct a well-being check on her. An autopsy report that was released this week revealed that Tori died from complications related to childbirth and that she had been in labor at the time that she died. Respiratory distress and eclampsia are rare but severe pregnancy-related conditions that can include seizures and even a coma, and unfortunately are more prevalent in Black women. These conditions were listed as complications or possible complications contributing to Tori's death. Now, the autopsy report revealed that Tori, who was 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed just 96 pounds when she died. Her autopsy report also listed bipolar disorder as a part of her medical history. Also in this autopsy report, it says that Tori's baby was stillborn, and they listed the cause of death for her baby as intrauterine fetal demise due to a maternal condition. And basically, that just means that this child died while in the uterus. Tori's manager has spoken out in the media and said that she had a conversation with Tori right before she died. Tori was excited about being a new mother. She tried to remind Tori about the need to eat. She said Tori had a habit of not eating a whole lot, and she was reminding her that she had to eat for two. And Tori assured her manager that she was taking care of herself. And just days later, she was found dead in her home. Now, Tori's death has put a new spotlight on maternal deaths in the U.S., where we know maternal mortality rates are higher than anywhere else in the developed world, and where Black mothers are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. Now, in the wake of Tori's passing, her teammates from the USA Olympic team, Tiana Madison, shared that she nearly died while giving birth to her son in 2021. In her social media post, Madison further highlighted the fact that 3 of the 4 women who ran on the second fastest 4x100 meter relay of all time, the 2016 Olympic champions, 3 of these 4 women have nearly died or died in childbirth. And Tiana Madison was referring to Tori and fellow track star Allison Felix, who also had a very difficult pregnancy in 2018. Bowie was a 3-time Olympic medalist. She won gold in that women's 4x100 meter relay at the 2016 Olympic Games. She also took home silver in the 100 meter and bronze in the 200 meter races. Today, I am wishing Tori's family light and love, and am hoping that her death yet is another catalyst for this country to do better, to do more, to save the lives of Black women who give birth in this country. Rest in peace, my dear sister. When we come forward, more of today's trending news right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Access granted. In a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of black audiences are concerned about the lack of black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. Your black. Your black.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest spot.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
The bounce is back.
Race, social justice, sports, politics, art, music, culture. We do it all on the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show. If you're not tuning in, then you are definitely missing out. It's the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, weekdays from 2 to 4 only on unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Like a brand new flavor in your head. Yeah.
This is a rather bold pronouncement, but we think we can back it up. If you come across a radio frequency anywhere putting more variety and more diversity on the air than KBLA Talk 1580, we sure would like to hear about your discovery.
You got to have vision.
You can search, but we are confident that you won't find more shows covering more topics, hosted by a more diverse and inclusive lineup of talkers than the squad we have assembled here at KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the time, brothers. This is the time.
We've got something for everybody.
That's right.
Health and healing, history and humor, issues and events, empowerment and entertainment, all in one station.
What's really going on?
Free enterprise, you dig?
KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes.
Oh yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
King Kong ain't got on me.
If you're not listening to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. Everybody wants to talk to Tavis.
That's one reason, by the way, why I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. The three people I always most hope.
This is Areva Martin in real time, and this is the News Hour. And I'm joined in this hour by two brilliant contributors, Kennedy Sessions and Isaac Wilson. Welcome back to the show to both of you. I want to start with you, Isaac. Were you surprised to see that Republicans actually voted with Democrats to kill this resolution that would have censured Adam Schiff, Democrat Adam Schiff, who was a leader in the House in the impeachment trials of Donald Trump? And it wasn't just a resolution to censure him, would have removed him from office, but it would have been, a mark on his record. But there was also a part of this resolution to fine him $16 million. And 20 Republicans said, nah, we're not here for this personal vendetta that Kevin McCarthy or Jim Jordan has against Schiff. And they put a stop to it. Did that shock you at all?
It didn't shock me. Anything Republicans do, whether positive or negative, it has an adverse effect on their party. And I think they sometimes think, okay, hey, we say a lot of crazy things in this chamber. And so this could be us next time around. And we don't want that to happen. So I wasn't shocked by that at all. $16 million is a lot of money. I don't think Republicans want to pay that to the government. And also, when you talk about somebody like Donald Trump and his minions of MAGA supporters, they're going to say something that is crazy. They have been saying things are crazy. So I think they're saying, hey, let's not even talk about that. Let's not discuss that. And let's move on to something else that's important.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. So, Isaac, you said you're not surprised.
I'm not
Kennedy,
surprised. It
I
helps
was
them out in the long run.
Well, yes, and we know they're not known for being the party of logic and reason. They're not known for being the party that does things that are even in their own best interest. In fact, they often vote in ways and take positions that are against their best interest. What about you, Kennedy? Did you have any shock or surprise, or when you learned that 20 of these Republicans voted, to kill this ridiculous, vindictive resolution?
I mean, I was a little bit shocked. I feel like we're really starting to see, as time goes on, how the Republican Party is really splitting up and who's going to write for Trump and who's not. And even just with the indictment hearings happening and all the drama that's been happening this week, seeing the people who have decided to come out and make full statements and not come out, and, how things are kind of shifting and the infighting in their own party, it's honestly been kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, I read an article that said Kevin McCarthy is, taking a YOLO approach. You only live once. He doesn't know how long he's going to be speaker. And he said, as long as I am speaker, I am going to live it up. They have pictures of him in the hallways of the Congress, asking people to take selfies with him, stopping to talk to, tourists that are in the Capitol. And they say he's having a pretty good time, but he knows he's on borrowed time. Exactly. He doesn't know how long it's going to be before the extremists in the party try to unseat him, because there's not a long history of folks in the Republican Party being in that seat for long. But I just thought it was interesting that he seems a little unfazed by all the crazy from his extremists in the party, and he's just trying to live it up.
Well, I was gonna say he watching him trying to even get to the position in the first place, and he was trying to act like everything was okay, peachy key, everything's good, we're all fine, and it's like they don't want you there. They don't stand by you. They don't think that you properly represent them. So yeah, I understand why he's doing that. He's just trying to live in his power right now, live in his position.
Yeah, he wanted that job really, 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 really badly. So it makes sense that he would be approaching it in the way that he is. All right, Isaac, let's talk about Trump and Latino voters. He's playing a long game with these Latino voters. After this historic arraignment that happened in that Miami federal courthouse, he didn't go home and ball himself up in a knot. He didn't go back to Mar-a-Lago and, cry into his pillow. He made a bunch of stops. And one of those stops was at a very popular, Latin restaurant. He actually did an interview on Americano Media where he went live. And this is a conservative Spanish language outlet. He went live on that outlet, and he criticized Joe Biden. He criticized Ron DeSantis. And, then he stopped at this Cuban restaurant, Versailles. And this is a known pit stop for presidential candidates. And he was greeted by a cheering crowd at this restaurant. They were taking selfies and people were praying for him and, expressing their support for him. Do you think this is going to be effective as Trump tries to solidify his votes in Florida, particularly with Cuban Americans? And
it will be effective. Yeah, it will be effective. Definitely effective. When you raise $7 million since the start of your indictment, something you're doing is effective. So Trump can rally people, might not be people we like, but he's been able to rally and pick up the pieces of the people that are still left that are supporting him. And so he can bring these people out of the woods. He can say, hey, I won't leave you behind. The Democratic Party has, but I won't. And so those are the people that Donald Trump can wake up and speak to. And those people will continue to support him because they think that he has their best interests at hand and won't leave them behind. But rest assured, Donald Trump, let one Latino do something wrong, and Donald Trump will categorize them and throw them under the bus.
That's what's so bizarre. And we're going to do a show on, I guess, the Stockholm Syndrome is what some experts call it. It's folks that continue to support Donald Trump, even though he has denigrated them. And Latinos are definitely a demographic that he has denigrated Kennedy, but yet the folks at this Versailles restaurant, this Cuban restaurant, really see similarities in their struggle and their experiences similar to Donald Trump because he's framed himself as a political prisoner, as someone who's being persecuted because of his political beliefs. He's painting Joe Biden as a Castro-like figure, a socialist that's, out, a dictator. And a lot of these folks in this restaurant and in this community, they're buying it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of seen, all of us are in the political sphere. We've seen the momentum that has been catching up with Republicans and specifically with Latino voters. But I think it's going to be interesting to watch both DeSantis and Trump in Florida specifically, because that's supposed to be DeSantis' stopping grounds. But obviously Trump, being a longtime Floridian, like he also has pull, in Miami and other parts of the state. And so, yeah, I don't understand the appeal. I really don't understand it. But that's just me. Maybe he's touching a nerve.
Well, the appeal he's saying to these Cubans, many of them that have, PTSD from living in Cuba, having to escape the regime there to come to the U.S. He's saying, you remember what it was like, right? You remember the oppression that you experienced there. That's what's happening here, and it's happening under a Joe Biden and a Democratic administration. And if you vote for me, he's back to saying I can fix all of the country's problems. I think now he's down to 6 months. He said, if you vote for me, I'll set you free. I mean, that's essentially the appeal that he's making. And you can imagine people who have been traumatized, who lived under Castro and that oppressive regime, that might sound okay to him, Isaac. That might sound like music to their ears.
I mean, it could sound nice, but it's also, there's no policy points. So it's really just talking points. He's just saying things that sound good and that he knows is going to strike a trauma nerve, if we're being honest. If you can get somebody emotionally to think about their history as, in another country, the struggle of their family, finding a job, the economy, et cetera, then he's going to strike a nerve. And it seems like he is, but I just don't think policy-wise there's any meat there. But if that's not enough for them and all they need is the talking points, then that's on them.
Well, Isaac, that people vote their hearts oftentimes, right? They vote for the candidate that they identify with, that they relate to, that they have some kind of emotional attachment. You can ask many voters about the policies of candidates that they voted for, and they can't tell you one thing that candidate is either for or against. But Kennedy raises a good point, Isaac, and that's going to be that Florida battle. You got the governor who was reelected, overwhelmingly so. So he's, by all accounts, popular in Florida. And then you have Donald Trump saying, no. I am the king of Florida. I'm going to win Florida. Who wins that battle, Isaac?
You have two separate things to consider here. Donald Trump goes after things that the Democrats aren't talking about. There hasn't been a Democrat to come out to Latinos down in Florida to say, hey, do you remember your, problems that you had in Cuba? We aren't talking about that. So he's pulling at the heartstrings saying, I remember that. I'm with you. I understand. And I'm here to help you. Democrats haven't done that. So the only thing they have is a chance to believe him and saying he's going to get to the policy. The other thing is to remember that Suarez is going to get in this race.
Oh, he already announced. Didn't he announce today?
He filed his paperwork to run.
Okay.
So he's going to get in this race. And so
tell us, for those folks who don't know who Suarez is, other than this really, really, really good looking man, tell us who he is. Had to throw that out there. So Isaac, go ahead and tell us who he is.
Suarez is the mayor of Miami. And he's gonna have some support. Not win the nomination, but he's gonna take some of that support away from Donald Trump and be able to tell the people, hey, Donald Trump can't do anything about what happened to you in Cuba. There's no policy to that. But people are so ingrained with the way that Donald Trump can deliver and seemingly be for them that they're going to follow him. One thing they can rest assured is that you've been president. Suarez, we love you as a mayor, but you haven't been there. So we're counting on Donald Trump to get us over the mark.
That's a good point. So, Kennedy, we were talking about a two-way race in Florida, but Mayor Francis Suarez, the conservative mayor of Miami, filed his papers. He's the 43rd mayor of Miami. He's the first Miami-born mayor, and he is really popular there. So now it's not a two-way race; it is a three-way race to win Florida. Who is going to be the last man standing in Florida?
It's gonna be, I don't know. I feel like Suarez. I heard about the rumors of him, announcing a run, but now that's official. Like, if he has Miami locked, it just, they're gonna be scrapping it. And it really sounds like to me, because I think Trump has pull, DeSantis has pull, and obviously Suarez has pull. So I don't know. I feel like maybe on the state level, Suarez takes the win, but nationally, can he really make an impression on other Republican voters? It's going
to be interesting. He's 45, so he's much younger than Trump, obviously half Trump's age. He's younger than DeSantis, and his retail politics, by everything I've read and seen, much better than DeSantis. DeSantis is stiff as a rock, gets into a room. It seems like he has, this is not to denigrate people who have social anxiety, because it's a real thing. A lot of people get treatment for it, but he seems like he has some kind of social anxiety around people. He gets really nervous around folks.
It's not the same as like a Trump or, other political figures. I feel like he has a hard time sometimes doing interviews, really, catching like waves and, really talking to the people. I don't think he's really there yet, but I don't know.
It's going to be a dogfight. Hold that thought, Isaac. It's going to be a dogfight in Florida for sure. When we come forward, more about the three-way race in Florida for the Republican nomination to be president. Also going to talk about Jordan Neely and his tragic death on that New York subway. What's going to happen next? And we're also going to talk about what's happening in the presidential race around Joe Biden when we come forward right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Access granted.
In a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for Black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of Black audiences are concerned about the lack of Black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the Black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% Black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black. Your Black. Your Black.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at KBLA 1580.
Follow the leader.
Are you ready?
The station leading the way with exclusive interviews,
Follow the leader.
stimulating conversation, and intellectual discourse that empowers, enlightens, and informs.
Follow the leader.
Follow the leader at KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Keep following the leader.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar, shot with a rest bar.
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA.store today. That's KBLA.store for all the official merch on your favorite talk radio station, KBLA Talk 1580.
Bounce is back.
Here comes the brand new flavor in your head.
Race, social justice, sports, politics, art, music, culture. We do it all on the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show. If you're not tuning in, then you are definitely missing out. It's the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show weekdays from 2 to 4 only on unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Like a brand new flavor in your head. Yeah.
This is a rather bold pronouncement, but we think we can back it up. If you come across a radio frequency anywhere putting more variety and more diversity on the air than KBLA Talk 1580, we sure would like to hear about your discovery.
You got to have vision.
You can search, but we are confident that you won't find more shows covering more topics, hosted by a more diverse and inclusive lineup of talkers than the squad we have assembled here at KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the time, brothers. This is the time.
We've got something for everybody.
That's right.
Health and healing, history and humor, issues and events, empowerment and entertainment. all in one station.
What's really going on? Free enterprise, you dig?
KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
King Kong ain't got on me, on me, on me, on me, on me, on me.
If you're not listening to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. Everybody wants to talk to Tavis.
That's one reason, by the way, why I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. The three people I always most hoped would interview me were Phil Donahue, Studs Terkel, and Tavis Smiley. Donahue's retired, Terkel's deceased, so this is a real thrill for me. And the reason why I have such respect for what you do is you have a historically informed conversation of depth and detail.
Be sure to tune in to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on your unapologetically progressive radio station, KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
Is the pen mightier than the sword?
They say the pen is mightier than the sword. At KBLA Talk 1580, we not only have a lot to talk about, we have a lot to write about. Politics, relationships, business, empowerment, and culture. The all-star roster at KBLA Talk 1580 has you covered.
That's what it's all about.
Be sure to follow us on all our socials for our latest book releases, op-eds, essays, and commentaries from our hosts. And, of course, download the KBLA 1580 app as we strive to remain your most trusted, credible, and reliable source for the issues you care about. This is unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
What up, baby?
I'm young, gifted, and black.
KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
Hey there, I'm Jared Hill, president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, and I just want to say thank you for the benevolent $10,000 donation and scholarships for the next generation of black journalists.
And I'm Haywood Galbraith, photojournalist and founder of the Minority Photojournalism Institute. Thanks, KBLA, for your generous $10,000 scholarship gift to help us train the next generation of black photojournalists.
Congratulations to all the students who will benefit from the scholarship dollars raised at our Black History Month luncheon, honoring black legends in LA media. When we come forward at KBLA Talk 1580, we're bringing everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us. Everybody with us.
Connection established. Access granted.
In a survey conducted by the public opinion research firm Eviderus, KBLA Talk 1580 consistently emerged as the station of choice for black audiences in the Los Angeles media market and beyond. The survey also revealed that the vast majority of black audiences are concerned about the lack of black-owned media and are more likely to listen to talk radio that focuses on issues that impact the black community. For some reason, the other talk stations haven't quite figured that out.
If you think about KFI, well, KFI only has like a 3% black listenership. 3%. So there's a good 97% out there to support a station like KBLA.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we...
My contributors, I'm talking to Isaac and Kennedy, and we're talking about the presidential race. Everybody pretty much assumed it was going to be a Joe Biden versus Donald Trump race. Now we have some wrinkles, and maybe it's not going to be Trump and Biden or even DeSantis and Biden. Francis Suarez, a 45-year-old very popular mayor in Miami, announced today that he is running for president. He's running on the Republican, as a Republican. He is considered a moderate conservative. And he says he's running a different kind of campaign. Isaac, he says, look, he's going to be more in the vein of Ronald Reagan. It's going to be youthful. It's going to be aspirational. It's going to be inspirational. And he says he's exactly what the party needs. He's the first and only Hispanic in the race. And he's going to run a cross-cultural campaign. So maybe those Latino voters that Donald Trump was trying to court at that restaurant are really going to be Suarez voters. What kind of a wrinkle does this throw in the election on the Republican side, having this young Cuban attorney in the race?
Whenever you can have someone who is charismatic, who's good looking, like you say, who is young, like I said, charismatic, and he is the mayor of one of the largest cities in our nation, and so he's been able to win that since 2017. So that's no small feat. So he has a large Latino, Hispanic, Cuban base in Miami. That's where most of them go. And so if they've been able to vote for him in Miami, now they can say, whoa, Donald Trump, we didn't know this man was getting in the race. So we're going to put our money around somebody that we actually know, that we live with. And this is somebody he can that can rally somebody like Adam Kinzinger to come down and campaign with him, Liz Cheney to come down and say, hey, this is the guy that you need. So you can get back to the middle of the road as a Republican. And if he can get that popularity up, I think you might see some of those MAGA Republicans get behind him and say, hey, this is where our party needs to go. We can still be conservative and still be middle of the road Republicans.
Yeah, I think, Kennedy, for many Republicans, we have to keep in mind that the Trump base is, by some accounts, only 30% of the Republican Party. Just depends on what poll you're looking at in any given day. But that leaves a lot of room for those Republicans that want a fresh face, that doesn't want a retread, whether it's Mike Pence or Chris Christie. And they don't want a DeSantis who has been effectively a Trump, sycophant, who read a book to his kids about Donald Trump while the kids were wearing a Trump onesie. So they don't want a guy like DeSantis who really was a big Trump supporter. And maybe Suarez, who has been critical both of Trump and critical of DeSantis, comes in and is that fresh face that some Republicans are looking for.
No, for sure. I completely agree. And I really think that so far you've just kind of seen, especially among Republican voters, it feels like they've been kind of looking for somebody else for a long time. They weren't happy about Nikki Haley. They didn't really get energized about Tim Scott. Chris Christie's name didn't do anything. Mike Pence's name for sure didn't do anything for them. And so I definitely think that this is their time, honestly, to really look at somebody like Suarez as a potential candidate, not only in the primary, but like long-term, his longevity in the political party, because he's so young. He has been very critical of Republican leadership so far. And so just seeing how far that's going to go, I definitely think the GOP is they're ready.
Yeah, he's someone we definitely have to keep our eye out on. You're right. Maybe he's not going to beat us in 2024. Don't get it twisted, Mr. Suarez. Yeah, no. But
like not too much, Suarez. We
like you. We like you a little bit, but we're not going to vote for you in the general election. But he is a rising star, Isaac, in the Republican Party. And speaking of rising stars, you have some intel that a Democratic congressman from California who considers himself very much a progressive in the vein of Bernie Sanders, Ro Khanna, has been visiting South Carolina, which is now the number one first voting place for the Democratic primary, that he's been dipping into South Carolina, meeting with some pretty influential people. Tell us what you know about Ro Khanna and his visits to the state.
Yeah, Ro Khanna has been visiting here since the early part of this year, visiting down places like Charleston, Greenville, Horry County, Columbia, which are four big counties in South Carolina that if you're running for president or thinking about running, whether it's now or later, you need to go talk to the major players that are there. And so I will be amongst the people that will meet with him come July the 5th and 6th, which is his next meeting here. So I'll know more information there. But he has been here every month. I think since March, he's been here every month holding events for candidates, and which will be his reason for coming in July. He's coming to campaign for a candidate down in Charleston for Charleston City Council. So that is a big deal.
So you got wait. You got a congressman from California coming to South Carolina campaigning for a local city council race, you said?
Yes, and he will hold a fundraiser for him, yes.
Okay, y'all, that ain't normal stuff.
No, I love
that. Ain't how this works. This dude that's been elected in California to represent Californians would not normally be in South Carolina supporting a local city council race. Something is up. Ro Khanna is on a mission. Now, we don't know if that is a Suarez type mission and we're going to get a video saying he's running for president, he's going to challenge Joe Biden, or if he's getting himself ready on the national level to be in place in 2028 after Joe Biden's second term. But we need to keep our eye on that, and we need you, Isaac, to keep us in the know about what is going on with this California congressman and these trips to South Carolina, because like I said, that ain't normal politics stuff. So, all right, we got to get on to some of these other stories. This is so fascinating what's happening in these political races, though. Let's talk, though, Kennedy, about Fort Polk. Why is it that America went and named all of these monuments after generals that were traitors to the country? Like whose idea was that, to name all of these monuments after Confederate generals?
I mean, they were losers and they still got, recognition, but
recognition. They got big.
They got a whole, they got a whole
monuments. It's crazy. Losers, as you said. Who loses and gets a big bronze statue of them?
It's really sad, honestly, because we're talking about people who thought it was okay that our people were enslaved. Basically, that's what we're talking about. And so when you think about how the country now, all these years later, is trying to make up for it, it's like, finally, it was time. I don't understand the fixation on these Confederate generals. I don't understand why they are super important, other than the fact that they lost and that their mission lost and whatever they were trying to do. And so now that, it's turning into, change all of them. Take them all down, change all the names. I don't need to see it. And I don't want our kids to see it. And I'm sad that we had to witness it, honestly.
Yeah, not only did they think it was okay to enslave people, they fought to uphold the institution of slavery. They gave their lives fighting to ensure that slave, and the slave trade and slavery would remain in place in the U.S. And I like what you said, Kennedy. What is up with the drip, Isaac? Why don't just whole scale, we just identify every Confederate monument in this country and just on one day say they're all going down? We have enough heroes, Black, brown, indigenous folks, women who have contributed to this country and the building up of this country who don't have statues anywhere. So why do you think we are so hesitant to, in one full swoop, just say no longer will we pay tribute to Confederate generals?
For one, all of them are, state-based. Most of them are state-based. You have some federal monuments, and so the federal government is kind of scared to say, hey, we don't want to go in and messing with the states, although it's their monument in some areas. And then you have state government who is, some of these states are red, and they're going to fly with their people. That's just simply it. We are a red state here in South Carolina. The Republicans control the Senate, the House, and the governorship. There's nothing that Democrats can do about a statue unless we get out there and get in the streets. And so when they say when we get in the streets, someone gets killed. So it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So we got to find a solution to it. But I would love to see more women, white or Black, that have contributed to American society and been inclusive to all races. I would love to see them have monuments built instead of getting these men built here. And so they identified 12 bases that they're going to change. They already changed Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty. Don't like the name, but at least it's not Fort Bragg anymore.
Right. Yes, drip. We'll take it however we can get it. When we come forward, is Daniel Penny taking a page out of Kyle Rittenhouse's playbook in order to avoid being convicted of second-degree manslaughter in the choking death of Jordan Neely? When we come forward, right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Here comes the brand new flavor in your head.
Race, social justice, sports, politics, art, music, culture. We do it all on the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show. If you're not tuning in, then you are definitely missing out. It's the D.L. Hughley Afternoon Show, weekdays from 2 to 4 only on unapologetically progressive KBLA Talk 1580.
Like a brand new flavor in your head.
This is a rather bold pronouncement, but we think we can back it up. If you come across a radio frequency anywhere putting more variety and more diversity on the air than KBLA Talk 1580, we sure would like to hear about your discovery.
You got to have vision.
You can search, but we are confident that you won't find more shows covering more topics, hosted by a more diverse and inclusive lineup of talkers than the squad we have assembled here at KBLA Talk 1580.
This is the time, brothers. This is the time.
We've got something for everybody.
That's right.
Health and healing, history and humor, issues and events, empowerment and entertainment, all in one station.
What's really going on?
Free enterprise, you dig?
KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes.
Oh yeah. We got a lot to talk about.
King Kong ain't got on me.
If you're not listening to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. Everybody wants to talk to Tavis.
That's one reason, by the way, why I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you today. The three people I always most hoped would interview me were Phil Donahue, Studs Terkel, and Tavis Smiley. Donahue's retired, Terkel's deceased, so this is a real thrill for me. And the reason why I have such respect for what you do is you have a historically informed conversation of depth and detail.
Be sure to tune in to Tavis Smiley weekday mornings, 9 a.m. to 12 noon on your unapologetically progressive radio station, KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
Is the pen mightier than the sword?
They say the pen is mightier than the sword. At KBLA Talk 1580, we not only have a lot to talk about, we have a lot to write about. Politics, relationships, business, empowerment, and culture. The all-star roster at KBLA Talk 1580 has you covered.
That's what it's all about.
Be sure to follow us on all our socials for our latest book releases, op-eds, essays, and commentaries from our hosts. And, of course, download the KBLA 1580 app as we strive to remain your most trusted, credible, and reliable source for the issues you care about. This is unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
What up, baby?
I'm young, gifted, and black.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
Hey there, I'm Jared Hill, president of the National Association of Black Journalists of Los Angeles, and I just want to say thank you for the benevolent $10,000 donation and scholarships for the next generation of black journalists.
And I'm Haywood Galbraith, photojournalist and founder of the Minority Photojournalism Institute. Thanks, KBLA, for your generous $10,000 scholarship gift to help us train the next generation of black photojournalists.
Congratulations to all the students who will benefit from the scholarship dollars raised at our Black History Month luncheon.
Daniel Penny, a white man who is accused of killing Jordan Neely, an African-American street performer on the New York subway last month, has been indicted by a Manhattan grand jury. So this allows the second-degree manslaughter charges to move forward and a trial to be set. And the question is Daniel Penny taking a page out of Kyle Rittenhouse's playbook? He has issued, Kennedy, this video where he's giving a play-by-play of what happened that he thinks, exonerates him. He's raised $2.8 million. So he has become, in many ways, a martyr, a hero, in the same way that we saw Kyle Rittenhouse. What do you make of him being so out front at a time when most lawyers will be telling their clients, don't make any public statements, they can be used against you in this very serious manslaughter charge, but he's all but going on national TV doing a media tour?
I mean, I think it's a book exactly out of Kyle Rittenhouse's book. And now look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, he's walking the streets, he's giving speeches, he's having a good time. And so it's really sad because it seems like a lot of these martyrs continue to be very popular amongst the right-wing base, and like you said, the $2.8 million. Like, can you imagine? We're dealing with inflation, we're dealing with all these economic issues, and people are just giving this man money after watching something so horrific like his death, Jordan Neely's death. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it's exactly what they probably are telling him to do, because they're like, hey, you're the new guy, so just be in the moment.
Yeah, it's really disturbing, Isaac, to see even some of these Republican candidates who are running for president, weigh in and voice their support for Daniel Penny. The witnesses on that train, the investigation has revealed, which is why he was indicted, that he acted recklessly, that Jordan Neely, although he was maybe acting in an erratic fashion, he was not threatening anyone on that train. He didn't have a knife. He didn't have a gun. He didn't use his fist. He didn't physically attack anyone. And if you ride a train in any major city, and particularly in New York City, to see someone talking to themselves or making statements, that's not all that uncommon. Most people, if they're bothered by it, they get up and they go to the next, subway car, or they move, or maybe they get on their phone and call 911. But to literally get out of your seat and grab someone and put them in a chokehold is extreme by any measure. And now to have folks saying he's a hero because he killed a Black man who now we know was homeless, we know had mental health issues, and we know all of that because the media is quick to give us the background of Jordan Neely. All we know about Daniel Penny is that he was a Marine. So he gets this very, sanitized bio in the media, whereas Jordan Neely is basically being vilified for what are seemingly, his mental health challenges. You're on mute, Isaac.
Kyle Rittenhouse is low class to Dylan Roof. I think this guy is a Dylan Roof guy. He wants to rid the world of Black folk, and he's finishing that. He's finishing that off for Dylan Roof and those other white supremacists. To go and just murder a Black man on a train and think that you have the right to do that. That's my thing. It's like the audacity to go and do that. Like, you just knew you wasn't going to get caught. You knew you wasn't going to get arrested or something. So I think this is more of a Dylan Roof ploy to get rid of Black people in America, and they're doing it at any cost, and they're doing it by all the standards that they can. And these candidates that are supporting this, or these people that are supporting it, they're in line to say, "Hey, let's rid these Black folk. We're losing our country," as the MAGA Republicans say. We're losing our country. And so we're losing it to people like this, so let's just want them off, because that's totally ridiculous to have a scene like that and think that you can do that.
Clearly, a lot of coded language is being used by him and his team. Clearly, a lot of nods to white supremacists. Clearly, the folks supporting him, I would imagine, are some of the same folks that you said we can imagine that supported Kyle Rittenhouse and Dylan Roof and others. It's really sad, and which is why I'm excited about the Biden-Harris candidacy and their opportunity to really talk about bringing the soul of this nation back. Joe Biden talks a lot about that. Before we run out of time, though, got to end on Mr. Bill Cosby. Kennedy, Mr. Cosby now is facing 9 plaintiffs who have sued him in Nevada because Nevada has eliminated its statute of limitations. So Nevada is saying if you were assaulted 50 years ago or 70 years ago, it doesn't matter. You are not time barred from filing an action. And these 9 women are the first out the gate. And I think there are probably going to be more lawsuits if there are other plaintiffs living in this state where there's now no longer a statute of limitations. What does Bill Cosby do to defend himself against these charges? Or is there any defense?
No. I think that at this point, it seems that he has a lot of history of sexual assault, especially amongst a lot of women. And so if this is their way to get justice, then this is their way to get justice. And I'm actually very happy about Nevada and dropping the statute of limitations, because a lot of times when we talk about especially something as traumatic as sexual assault, women and people who are sexually assaulted have a hard time talking about their experience, have a hard time coming out about their experience. And so having this happen, it's a very big deal. And at this point, Bill just needs to
write the checks.
Yeah,
just open the checks. And I'm with you. As a lawyer, I am ecstatic about the elimination of the statute of limitations. We've seen some states like New York open up a window of opportunity, because you're right. Lots of times sexual assault victims are so intimidated. They are so traumatized by the process that they don't feel as if they can come forward and tell their stories without being further traumatized. And we know women of color in particular, Black women, suffer in silence. We know that we're often not believed when we do tell our stories. And I'm glad to see that women are talking about these issues and coming forward. Now, some folks say, oh my God, how can you prosecute a case that's 50, 60 years old? All the evidence is going to be, destroyed, unavailable. Do you have any concerns, Isaac, about how we weigh how we balance the need for women to come forward with what could be prosecutions based on stale evidence?
I would think that some of them have filed a report early on and just wasn't taken serious. And I think so if they have those reports, I think it'll be easy. But to not have any evidence that he sexually assaulted you, I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. But I agree with you guys that Donald Trump. I'm talking about Donald Trump. Oh Lord!
I mean, he's another one that.
I guess they're one of the same people. They're one of the same people.
Freudian slip, right?
So I think he just needs to open the checkbook. Those ladies need to say, "Hey, we will just take the money. We don't need the court, and we just go about our business or whatever case may be." This man is almost 90 years old. This man is dying in jail. I think he's out now or something, right?
He's out. He's out.
Yeah, he's out. So I think he's dying. This man is. Just get the money and go, and don't make it a court case. Just file a civil suit, get the money, and go live your life. It's been 50 years. You don't have evidence to support that, I'm sure. Rape kits or witnesses, that stuff will be diluted by now.
Yeah, this is a good day, I think, for sexual assault victims all over this country. Whenever women have an opportunity to come forward and tell their stories, it's a good day for all women. We are out of time. Thank you so much, Kennedy Sessions and Isaac Wilson. Always a pleasure to have both of you on. I'm a lot smarter, and my audience is a lot smarter because of your insights. When we come forward, we are going deep on the issue of reparations, and we're asking, where is the check? And are Black people finally going to get paid for the racial trauma that we have experienced for decades as a result of slavery? Stay with us. KBLA Talk 1580.
Gotta stay fresh, my house shot with a rest bar,
Have you visited us online for the grand opening of KBLA.store? For the best in new merch, gift ideas, books, media, and more, log on to KBLA.store. Be sure to check out our KBLA team favorites at KBLA